Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be my ex threw a brick through my windshield. Should I want her back? Well, today is a Jerry Springer-esque style video newsletter. So this actually apparently happened. And this guy is considering wanting this woman back. And if you look back at their history, which I'll get into in a second, she's always been kind of difficult. And it sure appears just by the way she treats him that he's probably a little soft, a little squishy. She treats him like a doormat. She pushes him around. And he's kind of drunk on his feelings and his emotions. And it just looks like he's just too timid and afraid to stand up to her. And so they had this. So basically what happened is he's driving home one night, has a blowout. Tire blows out in his car. And normally you would think, oh, call my girlfriend. She'll come pick me up because she loves me, right? Well, he calls her and she's basically, call somebody else. I don't want to be bothered. So he calls her 16-year-old son, and he has a good relationship with her son, and he comes in to pick him up and help him. And so she shows up shortly thereafter, cusses him out, says they're done, throws a brick through his windshield, and then he decides to throw the brick through her back windshield to get her back. She drives off, blocks him everywhere. He's been apologizing ever since. Keep in mind, she was the first one to show up and cause this scene and altercation. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he threw a brick through her back windshield. And he's like, hey, will she come back, coach? And it's the kind of question where you're like, common sense really isn't that common. Why would you want somebody like this back? I mean, everybody watching this is kind of going, bro, what are you thinking? Because things just tend to escalate from there. And the only thing that women like this learn to understand is setting and enforcing healthy boundaries. In other words, if it was me in this situation and that kind of thing happened, that would be it for me. I would never call, text her again for any reason. Even if she reached out, as far as I was be concerned, she'd be dead to me. I would never want anything to do with her. Because if you take somebody like this back, they got away with becoming violent. Anybody that knows, has friends, family in law enforcement, or knows anything about what those guys have to deal with, the most dangerous calls they go on are always the domestic violence calls. Guys have probably heard me talk about the Hialeah divorces that tend to go on in South Florida. Murder-suicides is like pretty much almost a nightly occurrence in Hialeah for whatever reason. It's just constant stuff where somebody's cheating, the guy finds out, or vice versa. Shots are exchanged. It's like it just never ends well. When getting involved with somebody who thinks it's okay to throw a brick through your windshield tells me that dad didn't do a good job on her. She had no chill, even if she even had a father in her life. We see these kind of videos on Twitter all the time. People getting mad that they got the wrong sauce with their fast food, and they go on a rampage and just absolutely destroy a Taco Bell or a McDonald's or some other fast food place because they're pissed off about they didn't get enough extra sauces or ketchups, or they didn't feel their Coca-Cola was filled all the way to the top, or their food was cold. Whatever happened, or something got left out accidentally, and people just go berserk. When you see people behaving like that, it's because the dad didn't do a good job. Dad wasn't there to calm them down when they were little kids. And so they were allowed to go bananas. There was a video earlier this week. A little girl, it looked like it was in a Whole Foods, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, she's like 6, 7 years old. She's going on a temper tantrum. She's throwing shit everywhere, breaking things, throwing brand new champagne bottles on the floor and just breaking them all over the place. And you got some idiot woman going, oh, don't reprimand her. We don't know what she's been through. In other words, just let the kid go ahead and destroy and cause thousands of dollars worth of damage to stuff that's not hers. And I don't think anybody knew whose kid it was. The kid was just in there throwing a temper tantrum. Maybe mom was somewhere else in the store. But you see things like that, and you got women going, oh yeah, just let her work it out of her system, basically. It's like, hello. That's what happens when you don't have a strong father in the household, because dad ain't going to tolerate that shit. That's embarrassing, number one. And number two, if that's my daughter picking that shit up, it's like I'm picking her up and we're going outside. Not that ever would happen, but because I've always been good with kids. When I've been a stepdad, it's like never ever had any problems like that. But that's what happened. Kids don't feel loved. They're oftentimes neglected. If the dad's not even around, then the kid learns that they can throw a temper tantrum, and the mother tries to be a pleaser and basically enables the behavior. And so by the time somebody's an adult and they think it's okay when they get mad at you just to pick up a brick and throw it through your windshield, it's like, yeah, that's just not somebody you should be in a relationship with. Because if you take her back, there's no consequences. Women like this should learn that if they do this, if they lose their cool, then those people aren't going to want anything to do with them. That's the only thing really that's going to change her behavior. That and ended up in jail, obviously. And even then, that doesn't always cause people to correct their behavior. So for your own safety and your own sanity, when somebody goes bananas like this, it's really not a good idea to want them back or to take them back. But this dude seems to be a glutton for punishment, and he's only focused on how he feels about her and is just not paying attention to the situation because probably he doesn't really respect himself as a man, and he's probably in a scarcity mindset, worried about or thinking he's not going to find anybody else like to date. That's why a lot of people don't leave their relationships. They're terrified of the unknown. They're terrified of finding somebody else or worried that they won't find anybody else. But people that are good students, that take care of themselves, that are successful, that are relatively fit and in shape, and obviously understand 3% man, you're going to have a lot more choices and a lot more options, and things are going to go better. And, I mean, it should be common sense that you just don't get involved with somebody like this. But it's pretty clear there were some signs that she wasn't... In other words, the elevator didn't go all the way to the top floor. So he says, hey, Coach, on September 29th, 2024, I was headed home and suffered a tire blowout on my vehicle. So I reached out to my girlfriend, who said to call someone else. So I contacted her son, who is 16, and has taken a liking to me, and he tried to wake her up to rescue me. And after she continued to refuse, what a sweet woman. I'm not getting out of bed. I'm tired. Call somebody else. He decided to take her car keys and come to my rescue. After we were done fixing the car, she got a ride to our location and slapped her son and threw a brick at my windshield. What a great mom. Damaging it, so I retaliated and threw it back at her rear window, shattering it. Yeah, the front windshield's going to crack, but it's got a coating that typically it's not going to go through. But the back windshield, it'll go just like it'll go through the side windows, because that's just tempered glass typically, and it's meant to shatter into little pieces. But the good news is, if somebody throws a brick through your window, hey, just like the commercials, Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. They do a good job. But imagine the dude comes out and he's like, what happened? Girlfriend got a little heated the other night, threw a brick through my windshield. Oh, all right. Well, hopefully you guys worked it out. Well, she blocked me everywhere. We're not talking right now. But I did throw one back and went through her back windshield, so I got her back. She said we were done before throwing the brick, and after the incident, she drove off. So she said we're done, and then proceeds to throw a brick through his windshield. That tells me she doesn't respect him. She doesn't fear losing him. She doesn't really care what he thinks. And this just happened to be in it. So obviously she wasn't that happy with him to begin with. That's kind of unusual. Babe, I had a blowout. Don't worry, the car didn't wreck. I was able to pull over and maintain control of the vehicle. So nothing bad happened. But hey, can you come pick me up? Fuck you. Go call somebody else. Calls her son. She gets a ride there. Shows up with a brick, or was a brick on the side of the road? It's like, what the hell? Is she a member of Antifa? What the hell's going on? She immediately blocked me everywhere. After a week, I sent her an email apologizing for damaging her window and asked her to apologize so we could continue together. But she responded with a smiling emoji and probably blocked me on email. Passive-aggressive behavior, just like, yeah, I'm going to punish you until I've decided you suffered enough, and then maybe I'll reach out to you. So loving, so sweet. Just what every man wants as a stocking stuffer this Christmas holiday season. A girl who throws a brick through your windshield. That's true love. If she really loves you, she'll throw a brick through your windshield. I then waited one more week and had a mutual friend send a message to her asking her to unblock me so we could communicate, and she replied, nah, I'm good. So she shows up, behaves that way, and what does he do? He runs after her like a little pussy, groveling and begging for her attention and validation. Granted, he shouldn't have thrown a brick through her window, but he should have never reached out in the first place. It's like, why? Why? It's like two petulant 8-year-olds. I've now been in no contact since September 12th and broken up for a month. Maybe he means October 12th, because the event happened on the 29th of September, so I think he messed up that. We'll just say it's October 12th, because that's the only thing that makes sense, because he did wait 2 weeks. He says, a little background is that I matched with this woman on Tinder in 2020, and she was emotionally unavailable. So probably he didn't get enough strokes from mom and dad as a kid. So when he met her, and she was emotionally unavailable and cold and distant, he thought, there's a chance I can get her. So he didn't get the love that he wanted. That felt normal to him, so he kept pursuing. He kept trying to get the love and affection from somebody that wasn't interested in giving it to him. He says, so after a few dates with no affection, I rejected her request to just be friends, as I learned from the coach. Fast forward to 2022, 2 whole years go by. She reached out again, wanting to continue the friendship as she thought I was chill, and I again rejected her request. Finally, in June 2024, so another 2 years. So this is like a 4-year process to get out of friend zone. She reached out, and we dated, and I led the way. Sex has been fantastic because she's crazy, obviously. Sex with crazy girls is amazing. I got experience in that. Nobody throwing bricks through my window, nothing like that, but just kind of crazy, overly emotional behavior. The crazy ones that get upset easily at the drop of a hat. They're incredible in bed, but man, it's like hell on high wheels, man. Hell on high heels. Sex has been fantastic, and I actually grew to love this woman. Maybe these guys deserve each other. Why would you even consider this? I know she has feelings for me as well, because she expressed love for me and called me her everything. Yeah, you're her everything, so she threw a brick through your windshield and blocked you everywhere. But she knows you're going to hang around like a little puppy dog, and so she's going to abuse you and mentally torment you and ignore you. And then maybe in a few weeks she'll reach back out. You guys will have great makeup sex. And then the process will start all over again. Slapping her 16-year-old son when he did a good thing is just... That poor kid gonna probably date a woman that's just like her. It's just a bad way to go. It's just a bad scene all around. Highly inappropriate behavior. She even became a vegan for me. Maybe that makes a little bit more sense. So he's a little cucked. He must be a Kamala supporter, or he's riding with Biden. Justice Assange's Curry, don't you know anything? She's 36 and I'm 37. Do you think she will reach out to me? Well, I mean, if we look at her track record, in 2020 it took 2 years. She reached out in 2022. She tried to friend zone you again. 2 years later, she reached out, and then you started dating. Probably won't take 2 years, but current events form future trends. So ideally, you should stay in no contact and never contact her again for any reason. If you were smart, you would block her everywhere and want nothing to do with her, and apply what you've learned in the book to meet somebody that's actually sane, but maybe you're both nuts, and so you guys deserve each other. I wouldn't put up with this, but you do you, boo-boo. I got friends, some guys that I know, former Special Forces dudes, they like women. They're very calm, and their girls are just kind of a little nuts, and they like that. They're a little bit of a masochist, and it's like, Corey, I'm kind of a masochist. I like a little bit of pain every now and then. It's like, I love you, bro, but you're fucking nuts. Whatever. Different strokes for different folks. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying it's, this is just the kind of behavior that ultimately escalates. And I don't want to see you guys in the news eventually. I mean, do you guys live in Hialeah maybe? I don't know. Hialeah divorces. You guys in South Florida, it's like, you know what I'm talking about. If you watch the news, it's murder-suicide tonight in Hialeah. Hialeah divorce. Almost a nightly occurrence here in South Florida, where the Florida man runneth wild. All up and down the... We got alligators and anacondas, poisonous snakes, all kinds of things that'll eat you, sharks. It's like the wild west out here in some places. But hey, that's what you want. But I personally wouldn't get involved with somebody like this. I'd be blocking her and want nothing to do with her and move on with your life. That'd be better for you. And that's really the only thing that's going to help her make corrective behavior. But more than likely, there's probably 10 other dudes that are willing to line up to get a shot at her box. And they don't care. Just like you didn't care. So that's what I wouldn't mess around, but you're more than likely you're probably going to do it anyways. If she reaches out, you'll be excited. You'll have great makeup sex until the next blow up, until the next incident, which might even escalate even more. Again, it's just a bad way to go, because you staying with her enables her behavior. It teaches her that this is okay, because no matter what she does, no matter what kind of crazy shit she does, slapping her son in front of you like that when he's helping you out, and then throwing a brick through your windshield, and then driving off saying, we're done. It's like, come on, man. Have some self-respect. Seriously. I say it all the time. You want a girl who's easygoing, easy to get along with, and who's nice to you. This is not nice behavior. This is emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically abusive. So if she slapped her son, I would venture to guess probably she's cold-cocked him a few times since they've been together. But maybe he likes that shit. Maybe he likes to get slapped around by his girl. I don't know. Maybe he's a vegan, so maybe she gets the strap-on out and gives it to him. It's like, whatever, man. You do you, boo-boo. If you got a question or a challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com. Click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website and book a coaching session with yours truly. And if you haven't already checked out our paying members only content in the video description of this video, there are links so you could subscribe on YouTube, you could subscribe on Spotify, or ideally, preferably, subscribe at the website, understandingrelationships.com. Click the plans tab when you arrive, and you can do a 7-day free trial on the website. You can do a monthly plan or an annual plan. If you choose an annual plan, you'll get a 25% discount for paying the whole premium up front at the end of the 7-day free trial. And so what you'll get is 5 weekly paid members only video coaching newsletters similar to this one. The only paying members have access to. We have a weekly 3% Man study group podcast, weekly Mastering Yourself study group podcast, where we literally go page by page in the books. We answer your questions. We discuss the topics in there. It's basically an ongoing weekly class to really drill down the concepts in the book between myself and the girls and Chunky. We also have other special videos and interviews. And quite frankly, there are videos that you're only going to find on the website and Spotify that I just can't put on YouTube. It's just, I had a video that got removed a few weeks ago. We were talking about the clot shot. It's like, there's just things you can't talk about, and they get really upset. They threaten to give you a strike. They give you warnings. It's like there's just things you can't talk about on there. So in order to not upset the Karens that run the Trust and Safety Councils at YouTube, we have the Full Breach, Coach Corey Wayne and Company on the website and Spotify, because at least on those platforms, that and Rumble, which does all the hosting for our members-only stuff on the website, we can say what we want, unfiltered. Free speech is still a thing. Spotify's been great. Rumble's been great. YouTube is very politically correct, and so we just got to be careful what we say in there. So you're going to get a more sanitized version, and there'll be less videos on YouTube and the members only. Plus, YouTube takes almost like 40% of the membership fee every month. And on top of that, we got to deal with the Karens. But like I said, you can subscribe anywhere you want. And so if you subscribe on YouTube, you'll only be able to consume what's on YouTube. If you subscribe on Spotify, you'll only be able to consume what's on Spotify. And if you subscribe on the website, you'll only be able to subscribe on the website. The platforms are not connected. So until next time, again, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, do a 7-day free trial so you can check out what content you get. And at this point, we've got hundreds and hundreds of members-only videos and video newsletters that only paying members have access to. So until next time, I will talk to you soon.